Distinguished guests, Your Royal Majesty, please accept my congratulations on behalf of the British Museum on this auspicious occasion of your Silver Jubilee. Thank you for hosting me and my colleague Julie Hudson and for welcoming us in such a friendly and open manner. It is my privilege to say a few words about the loan from the British Museum to the Homecoming exhibition, as well as to briefly speak about future partnerships and future collaborations. We were delighted to receive Your Royal Majesty at the British Museum last year, and I know my colleagues were very grateful for your visit. The relationship and connection between the Golden Stool of Ashanti and the British Museum is now over 200 years old. In 1817, the British diplomat Thomas Bowditch was similarly privileged to have been hosted here in Kumasi by the illustrious forebear of Your Royal Majesty, the Ashanti Osei-Bonsu, who gave generous gifts to the British Museum. All of us here know well that the history of our nations has also involved conflict, with the warfare between the British Empire and the Ashanti Kingdom, which started in 1873 and 4, a painful historical episode, and one which significantly changed the course of history for the Ashanti Kingdom. Many of the collections on display in this new exhibition directly relate to that painful historical chapter. The British Museum is firmly committed to building productive and forward-looking relationships using these collections today. We thank Your Royal Majesty for his wisdom and leadership in fostering this strong partnership. We were delighted that the visit of Your Royal Majesty to the British Museum last year was the catalyst for signing a new memorandum of understanding between the Golden Stool and the British Museum. The MOU and the Mancha Palace Museum itself reflects 50 years of collaboration and partnership. In 1974, Ashantahene Apokawari II requested the repatriation of Ashanti gold from the British Museum. Malcolm MacLeod, then Keeper of Ethnography, came to Kumasi to explain that the provisions of the British Museum Act prevented the permanent removal of the objects from the collection. He stated that the British Museum wished to cooperate with the Golden Stool in exploring mutual areas for future research and scholarship, including a major exhibition on the Ashanti and developing a museum at the Mancha Palace with training for museum staff. The Palace Museum we see today is the tangible result of our joint initiatives. We have come a long way in 50 years. The 1981 Ashanti Kingdom of Gold exhibition at the British Museum enabled a diverse range of visitors to learn more about the history, arts and culture of the Ashanti Kingdom in London. It subsequently travelled to New York. Through a series of initiatives between 2006 and 2016, we also collaborated on knowledge exchange programmes and training through the British Museum's Africa programme, which helped support training for the Mancha Palace Museum staff and also provided opportunities for other Ghanaian colleagues. The new MOU provides the basis for enhanced cultural cooperation between the Mancha Palace Museum and the British Museum. This loan is its first tangible outcome. The loan from the Ashanti collections of the British Museum has been developed in close collaboration and dialogue with His Majesty, the staff and advisors of the museum, including the director of the Mancha Palace Museum, Ivor Ajimandua, and technical advisor Malcolm MacLeod. The royal regalia is associated with ritual and ceremonial contexts within the Ashanti royal court and has been selected by the Mancha Palace. Most notable amongst these objects is the Mupaponsuo sword, traditionally used by Ashanti kings to swear their allegiance to the golden stool. Amongst the objects selected is also a small gold ornament in the form of a lute harp. This ornament was one of the cast gold objects presented in 1817 to the British diplomat Thomas Bowditch during his visit to Kumasi by the Ashantihene Osibonsu. According to Bowditch, they were intended by the Ashantihene as gifts to the British Museum and serve as means of representing the wealth of the Ashanti Kingdom in London. We're looking forward to learning more about these objects from colleagues and members of the public in Kumasi as we continue our collaboration. As a museum, we are committed to widening access to all our collections, whether this is through our work back in London, online to global audiences, or by sharing the collection as loans, such as this one, to create new opportunities for engagement and understanding. The British Museum recognises the importance of these objects to Ashanti people, and since the 1970s there have been calls for them to return to Ghana. Their display enables people of Ghana to directly engage with these objects and their history in a new and important way that has not been possible before. We at the British Museum are wholly committed to continuing this relationship, building on this loan in a manner based on friendship, trust, mutual respect and a willingness to discuss. In this respect, I am delighted that during his visit to the UK in the summer, Your Royal Majesty will give a lecture at the British Museum focusing on Ashanti culture and heritage. The lecture will be introduced by the eminent writer and philosopher Kwame Anthony Appiah. It leaves me only to reiterate to you, Your Royal Majesty, our heartfelt congratulations on your Silver Jubilee, to thank you again for working in partnership with us and for inviting me here today. Thank you.